Before I start this video, make sure to use my TCG Player affiliate link down below in the description. Also, if you do want to support the channel even further, consider becoming a patron. There are some great benefits including giveaways, early access to videos, and can be featured in gameplay videos in the future. My patron shoutout of the day does go to Zand. Thank you so much for becoming a patron, and I'm grateful for all your support. Now let's jump into today's deck tech. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Stomp MTG, and in this video I wanted to focus on the new Dimir commander, Etrata Deadly Fugitive. So for 1 blue and a black, it's a legendary creature, vampire assassin. I feel like that's what I'm really excited about this set, is seeing all sorts of assassins like Massacre Girl come to light. I was kind of torn to make a deck tech out of Massacre Girl, but I feel like she's better than the 99 of this deck. However, if you do want to see a deck tech around Massacre Girl, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see if I can. However, because we do get an extra color with blue in this commander, I feel like this is the better assassin commander, plus we could add a lot of great assassins from the past. So first, let's read what it does. So it does have Death Touch, and it does have face down creatures you control have pay 2 blue and a black. Turn this creature face up. If you can't exile it, then you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Also, whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to an opponent, cloak the top card of that player's library. So basically, when you cloak a card, you put it on the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. You can turn it face up at any time for its mana cost if it's a creature card. So I'll tell you what, there's a lot of cool things going on for this commander. Not only does it have Death Touch, but whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you cloak the top card of that player's library. So obviously, the more assassins you do have on the battlefield, the more you can take advantage of that ability, which is actually really good too. I do also like the fact that she has that ability of paying 2 blue and a black to flip that face down creature, and obviously if it's a non-creature spell, you can then cast it for free. So I'm really digging this commander, and let's focus now on what you should put in the deck. Alright, so the first part of this video, I want to talk about assassins. So assassins is kind of an obscure creature type in Magic the Gathering as far as a lore perspective. However, I feel like there's some great ones to consider in the deck. So some of the assassins I do want to bring up first is Silumgar Assassin and also Aven Heartstabber. And the big reason why I wanted to bring these up is they have some sort of evasion. Aven Heartstabber has that evasion of flying, and also Silumgar Assassin has that ability of creatures with power greater than Silumgar's Assassin's power can't block it. And so that's the main draw, the reason why I wanted to add these little evasive creatures in the deck. Not only are they assassins, but they could swing in, possibly not get blocked, so that we could trigger our commander's ability to cloak the top card of our opponent's library. Also, another way we could make way for our assassins to hit our opponents is just by killing their creatures. So Kiku the Knight's Flower and also Wrath the Assassin. Also a little FYI, Wrath the Assassin was errata to a mercenary Phyrexian assassin. I just wanted to give that heads up before I get crucified in the comments. But again, I like these for the fact that they're removal when you tap them. On top of that, Wrath the Assassin could potentially search for a mercenary card, but we're really not having any mercenary cards in our library, so we're not really focused on that too much. However, the next assassin I do want to talk about is Virtus the Veiled. I feel like overall for 3 mana for a 1/1 isn't the greatest, but honestly having the stats of Death Touch, not a lot of people want to block into it, but I feel like they kind of have to block into it because when it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. So I guess it's either lose a lot of life or lose your most precious creature depending on the scenario, so it's okay. Of course, I just had to add both versions of Massacre Girl. I feel like these are great auto-includes. Massacre Girl, the first iteration of it, is definitely a great board wipe. Plus, it does have Menace, so it does have some sort of evasion, so you can swing in, get your commander's trigger to go. But the new Massacre Girl is top notch. For 4 mana, it's a 4/4, and it does also have Menace too, so the same kind of stats, obviously 1 less mana, but creatures you control have Wither, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, you draw a card. So I do feel like most of our assassins will have Death Touch, and having that ability of Wither is extra icing on top of it, because if they do have toughness less than 1, we could draw a card off of this. Man, honestly, the more I talk about this card, the more I just want to build around it. I did also want to bring your attention to another great assassin with Marry the Killing Quill. For 3 mana, we do have a 3/2 body. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do, you draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. So already we're trying to have a lot of assassins connect to our opponents, and they do have a lot of evasion. This is just icing on the cake so that we can draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. In a game of Commander, a lot of creatures are dying left and right without even us trying to kill them. So most likely they're going to be exiled with a hit counter on them. All we have to really do is just swing in the air with our evasive assassins. Quite honestly, I could see this card spiking because of how good it is, especially in this deck, so not financial advice, but you may want to pick up one. Another fun include that I would like to mention is the original Etrata. I feel like this is a very good card in the deck, not only because it has evasion, because it can't be blocked, but when it deals combat damage to a player, you exile a target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on it. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more cards exiled with hit counters on them. Then after that whole process, Etrata's owner shuffles Etrata into their own library. Now only if there was a way we could exile creatures with hit counters on them. Oh wait, Marry the Killing Quill does. So if there are already a lot of creatures with hit counters in exile, we could potentially make an opponent lose the game when we swing in with Etrata, all thanks to Marry the Killing Quill. So of course that can be a great win con of the deck. Another win con I'd like to mention is by using a card like Ramsay's Assassin Lord. So for 2 blue and a black, it does have death touch and is an anthem for your assassins. Whenever a player loses the game, if they were attacked this turn by an assassin you control, you win the game. So with this card and also the other cards with Marry the Killing Quill and also Etrata, we exile a lot of creatures with hit counters with Marry the Killing Quill. Then we could use Etrata's ability to swing in and then make a person lose the game, and then obviously with Ramsay's, we attacked with Etrata, that means we'll win the game because that person lost the game. Of course, that's just one hypothetical situation that I could think of. Obviously, if you're just in a game and somebody just has low life and everybody else has high life, we could just swing into that person that has low life and they lose the game. That means we'll win the game completely against the 2 other people. So yeah, Ramsay's a good card. So the next part of this video, I do want to talk about Changelings. So I feel like Changelings is a good strategy for this because there's not many assassins that you can choose from, and I feel like the Changelings that I am picking today are a great fit for the deck overall. So the first one I do want to mention is Changeling Outcast, and this one is pretty simple. For 1 black mana, it can't be blocked and it can't block. This is just one way we can ensure a hit to our opponents so that we could then cloak the top card of that player's library when we swing at them. So yeah, this is just a great auto include. Next up, I do want to mention Shapesharer. So for 1 and a blue, it does have Changeling, and it does have that ability of paying 2 and a blue. Target Shapeshifter becomes a copy of a target creature until your next turn. So this can target itself so that you can make it a copy of another creature that you own on the battlefield. Another one I would like to follow up on is Kaldis Assassin. So technically this is Assassin, but it's also a Shapeshifter. But on top of that, it does act as removal. You can cast this at flash speed, which is really great by the way too, so that you can cast it, kill a creature, and then have it replace the creature. Of course, I did also want to bring your attention to Maskwood Nexus. Obviously this is a great include because creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells that you control and creature cards you own that are on the battlefield. So this does kind of provide a cute little combo of tutoring with Wrathy Assassin. Search your library for a mercenary card with converted mana cost 3 or less and put it onto the battlefield. So that's a little bit of a fringe scenario. Obviously it could happen if you do have the right setup. They're both great by themselves. Obviously with Maskwood Nexus, you can make a body on the battlefield that could act as an assassin. And lastly, I do want to mention Black Market Connections. Not so much that it's a shapeshifter itself, but the fact that it does make a Changeling shapeshifter on the battlefield is really good. Plus it does have the extra utility of making a treasure token, drawing a card, or making a body on the battlefield. Obviously you could choose one or you could choose all 3, all at the expense of life. So this definitely will be a great include to add. However, that's going to do it for me guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on Etrata Deadly Fugitive. So I feel overall this is a very good commander. I didn't highlight so much cards aside from the assassins and also the changelings. Outside of those cards, I I feel like you could just stack up your deck full of removals so that all your creatures could swing in without any sort of blocking happening, so that you could take advantage of your opponent's libraries. Also, I kind of forgot to mention this interaction with Masquid Nexus and Etrata Deadly Fugitive. The face down creatures you do make with the cloak ability of Etrata with Masquid Nexus, they will become assassins. So what you can easily do is just constantly swing with your mysteriously cloaked people, and because they are assassins because of Masquid Nexus, we could continuously trigger Etrata's ability so that we could cloak the top card of that player's library when we connect with them. So I do believe that's how the interaction does work. Let me know down below in the comments if I'm missing any rules interactions. Well, let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of this commander? Do you plan on building it? What other commanders are you excited about with this new set? Also, during spoiler season, if there's a commander that you do want to see a deck tech out of, let me know down below in the comments. I would love to make a deck tech out of it because I am going to be making a deck tech every single day of this spoiler season. Of course, I do have a couple in mind, but I do want to hear from you. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stopping by.